everybody. Happy Hump Day, everyone. This is Liana Cimento with Keller Williams and MGM Fine Homes, and it's Wednesday, and it's raining cats and dogs outside. So I thought that I would go ahead and tell you a story. I mean, it's a rainy day. Why not learn about, oh, hear a story. In this case, this is a love story, and it's also a real estate story. Hey guys, Raj, I see you. Ben, Mark, thanks for joining. Feel free to comment, say, it's a story. So, a couple of years ago, I had a client. Well, she wasn't a client yet. She was referred to me by a very good friend of mine. And she called me and, hey, Raj, thanks. And she called me and said, somebody referred you to me and I'd like to sell my house. She had a very special reason why. And I said, sure, love to. I came out to meet her and her husband and the reason why she wanted to sell. And the reason why she wanted to sell is just beautiful. Let me tell you about it. Their niece got pregnant at a very young age and decided to get married to her boyfriend at the time, and they had been blessed with a second child that was about to be born, so they needed more space. They were living all three of them in a bedroom, and now they had to put another person in there. So they wanted to sell the house. That was around February. I asked them to declutter and do several things, but life happens, and it took them a while to do that. When they were ready to sell, it was almost the end of the summer, so it was around July, towards the end of August. But the house looked great. They did an amazing job. I was so proud of them. We put the house in the market, and unfortunately, it sat for a little while. Meanwhile, we went out and we looked at several homes. And there was this one particular home that my clients felt were the best for them. This house had everything they needed, including a basement apartment for their niece to live in. And while they are, and we looked at it, but it was way over my client's price point. I mean, we had talked, it was almost $100,000 above my client's price point. So at that point, we felt that wasn't a good fit. Well, it took a few weeks. They came down on price, and it became a little more viable. So yours truly here is a little bit of a cookie person, crazy, if you may call it. And my client wanted a house, but they couldn't sell theirs. And the other people wanted to move, but they couldn't sell theirs. So what did I do? I told my client, I actually called the listing agents on the house my clients want to buy and ask her questions. The best thing about life is ask questions, because people will tell you once you ask the questions. And I asked her, hey, what is your client looking for? What are they doing? Why are they selling? And she told me, well, they want to downsize and they want to stay in the same area where they are. And I told her, well, that's perfect. My clients have a house in the market. They want to upgrade and they want to stay in the same area. How about this? Why doesn't your client go and take a look at my client's house and see how they like it? Guys, it happened. The owners of the house my clients wanted to buy loved my client's house. So guess what happened? They decided to swap houses. Yes, if there is any realtor watching this, you may think, what? I know, it's unheard of. In my office, I think I'm the only one who has done it. And it was because we thought out of the box. But hey, even though they decided to swap the houses, they said, okay, if the search of the house my client wanted to buy said, if you make an offer on our house and we like it, then we'll go ahead and make an offer on your house. And if you like it, then we'll go ahead and proceed to closing. Well, my client still couldn't afford the house. There's still a little bit too much. Right, Mark? You really have to ask the right question. Oh, ask questions, actually. There's no right question. Eventually, you'll get the right one. So my client went ahead and wrote this letter. Folks, look at the size of this. It's a huge, humongous letter, and it came straight from his heart. And this is where I say this story is about love. He starts by saying, "My name is Carlos, and I'd like to thank you for taking the time to visit our house. It was very nice of you." Then he proceeds to explain to the sellers why they wanted the house, and that was because of his needs. They needed the room for the growing family. And he quotes, he makes a few quotes of the Bible, and one that really touched me is he says that God is never going to leave you by yourself with a burden too heavy for you to carry. Well, he makes true to this, and you know why in a little bit. But what really touched me in this story is when he says, "One of these days, quite a few weeks after we visited your house and after being visiting many others, I asked my wife specifically if she liked your house. She paused for a moment. She looked at me with some special shine in her eyes, and she answered very slowly in a peaceful and loving voice, 'I like it.' No, if I liked it? No, I didn't. I loved it. It was clear to me that this was the desire of her heart." And then he proceeds on, explaining to us why it was important for him to do this. So he says, "So this is why among so many options available in the market today, I have decided to pursue the purchase of your house because I need to do above and beyond to love my wife, even to the point of laying down my life for her. And if this is a true desire of her heart, I must do my best to go after it." Now tell me, doesn't that just warm your heart? That brought tears to my heart. And let me tell you, when I was going through this transaction, I was actually going through my divorce. And when I read that he would lay down his life for his wife and go above and beyond to just make her happy, it warmed my heart. It's the kind of love you think only fairy tales are only available in fairy tales, but no, they exist. They exist in real life, and I'm a witness to it. And then he continues, "But as I'm telling my agent all along, I am going to do all of my best to what is possible for men, and I will trust things possible to my Lord, my God, to work out the details." And he finishes by saying, "We bless your lives, we bless your home, we bless your future generations to come." So his offer was below their asking price. They ended up accepting. Hey, Carl, nice to see you. Thank you for watching. They ended up accepting his offer because of this letter. Okay, and they made an offer on his house that was good enough and made the numbers work. We were very tight, let me tell you about this. And by the way, if the agents that were working on this with me are watching, you guys know who you are, and you rock. You absolutely rock, because this was one crazy transaction, and they were amazing. Okay, so it's the end of the summer. We scheduled to close in the end of August, right? All the kinks are worked out. We are going to close. Well, it gets very close to closing date, and we get the call saying, unfortunately, due to some issues with the sellers, not my clients, the other sellers, we cannot close on this date. We will have to postpone closing. Well, but at that time, hey, Edna, I see you. But at that time, my client, the baby was about to come out. You know what I mean? It was about to be born. My clients had to move. There was no option. So we agreed to basically swap houses before closing. So my clients moved into the house they were buying, and the sellers moved into my client's house that they were selling, and they rented from each other. So confusing. If I'm trying to be as not confusing as I can here. And the thing about this transaction and what makes it so crazy, well, besides people swapping houses, that doesn't happen often, was that the sellers had an issue that they had to take care of before they had marketable title to the property, meaning before they could actually close on it, and each party had to move on. We ended up delaying closing 6 times. It was very stressful on everyone. And my job as representing my client is to protect him. And I kept telling him, I need to protect you. You didn't do anything wrong. The reason why we're not closing is because the sellers have issues that they're trying to work through, but we don't know if they will or they will not work through it. And every time I talk to my client, I wanted to do, okay, so if we agree to this, let's make them pay a penalty. Let's reduce the price on their house. Let's make it painful on them so they will really do the work and close. And my client demonstrated the largest love for humanity that I've ever seen in a person. Okay, there were many examples of that, but I mean, a person next to me, a person that I could see. In no point throughout this transaction, he got angry or he got upset. What he actually would calm me down and he would say, Leah, they are doing the best they can. I'm sure of that, and we don't have to worry. Let's give them the time they need. And that goes back to what he said. God will never leave you by yourself with a burden heavier than you can carry. He was helping these people. Okay, they needed to sell too. They needed to downsize. And my client understood that better than I did, better than most people would, actually. He only listened to me and actually did something that would give him a way, not really a way out, but would get him to be compensated for all this time he spent waiting. Was right at the end, right before the last extension that we did. Let me tell you about the sellers, though. It's not all bad. So the happy ending is we closed. Both clients got their houses. Both were happy. It was great for me and my clients. It was great for the other agents and their clients. It was a transaction that was supposed to close in the end of August, ended up closing in the middle of November. Now, realtors out there, you know how that is. My goodness, a transaction that takes that long to close. Well, the sellers, they were touched by my clients, and they were really nice people. You know, they were going through things, and I couldn't see at the moment because, you know, my job was to protect my client, not to be friends with the other people. But they understood my client. And when he said that they needed a basement apartment so his niece could live in it and raise her family, the day of the move-in, which was in the end of August, it was a huge surprise because they had furnished that basement apartment and decorated so the niece could move right in. She didn't have furnishings. She was borrowing and getting things from other people, and they just gave it all to her. She had a place to live right from the get-go, place for her kids to play, place for a happy family to grow. Anyhow, that's the story for today. If you've never heard about a house swap in real estate, just talk to me. I've done it. It was a completely out of the box idea, and it was stressful at times, but it got everybody where they should be. And think about this on this rainy Wednesday in Atlanta. Love each other. You know, you don't know what people are thinking. You don't know what's going on behind them. Even if when you think they're doing something or not doing something, maybe they're just going through things that you couldn't imagine. And by my client Carlos having the patience and the trust in people and the love in people, he was able to get a house that was way above what he thought he could afford, and he was able to give his niece and the children place to live. So let's just make sure that we think about each other. Okay. Happy hump day for everyone. And if you need any real estate assistance, you know where to find me. It's Leah Nascimento. I'm with Keller Williams, and I run my own company, MGN Fine Homes. You can call me at 843-267-4165. You can text me right here. If you have a question, if you just want information, I'm here for you. I'd love to help. Okay? Have a great Wednesday. Bye-bye.